Hey, what's good, yo? Welcome back to another video. The Texans have gone with the nuclear option to solve the O-line problem, and several moves have been made. Scruggs goes out with a foot injury for 2 to 3 weeks. They claim Zach Thomas from the Patriots. They activate Kenyon Green, who split reps with Thomas during practice. But most surprisingly, they move Tytus Howard to left guard and they upgrade Blake Fisher to the starting right tackle. And I just want to say that I know Tytus has gone on record saying that he identifies himself as a tackle, but I feel like now that he's been paid, he might be more willing to that move to left guard. And it's really just a testament to, I guess, how good he is or how much faith the Texans have in him for putting him there over Kenyon Green. And it seems like the Kenyon Green experiment is pretty much done. But I want to ask you, Drew, what did you think about Tytus Howard at left guard last year? And then Jacob, how do you think this O-line combination will go this year with Tytus at left guard and Fisher at right tackle?
Yeah, so honestly, I really couldn't help but start laughing when you said in the thing about Tytus considering himself to be a tackle, because yeah, that has literally been a thing. You know, Tytus Howard has gone on record saying, "I'm a tackle, I'm a tackle." He said that on social media, and now he's no longer on social media as he deleted all of his accounts. And honestly, I always thought that Tytus Howard had the athletic profile to be a good left guard, but as you asked me, it just simply did not go well. Last season when he was left guard, George Fant was the right tackle because they kind of felt like that was the best thing to do after Kenyon Green got hurt last season, wasn't able to play because of that injury in the preseason. Since this announcement is coming not only after an injury to Juice Scruggs, but after a bye week, they're able to sit down with Tytus. Now, I know we didn't hear about this in the Wednesday, Thursday practice, not hearing this until today, of course. This is Saturday when we're finding this out, but I still think this is something that had been discussed pretty much ever since they knew Juice Scruggs had an injury. Sure, the film wasn't great last year, but like I said, I think that Tytus Howard has the capabilities to be the left guard because, he's an athletic guy. He can have kind of more of a nastier streak when he's at the guard position because he's just simply more involved in the run game. The Texans don't ask too much for their tackles and their wide zone scheme. They're just kind of walling guys off, sealing the inside, the outside, a little bit of pat and go. So Titus is really going to have to understand the physicality that you have to play with at the guard position. And frankly, that's something that you don't see from Shaq Mason. You didn't see it from Kenyon Green. You certainly didn't see it from Juice Scruggs. I think Titus Howard, when he's moved inside, he has the player profile physical traits to be a successful left guard. This whole situation is just kind of unraveling into, I don't know, what's it called when you go back and forth with something? Because that's kind of what it is here. And so if it goes the same exact way that it has in the past, it's just going to be, why does this keep happening to us? But Thomas Howard should be able to be a left guard, should be good at it, but hasn't been in the past. But honestly, if there's any time for him to correct his mistakes, it's now.
To add on what you're saying about just how the offensive line is going to perform the rest of this year, I mean, well, I don't really like the move necessarily. I don't think Titus has been a very good guard when they've played him at guard throughout his career. I will say that I don't think it can get worse than Kenyon Green at guard. So you got an upgrade there. And hopefully Blake Fisher can come around. He's had good moments, I thought, some games that he's played in. I think he's been a good run blocker, but the pass protection has been pretty bad. Getting him more reps is not necessarily a bad thing, though. Get him down the stretch of this year. I'm assuming they're going to stick with this even when Juice comes back, as long as it's not horrendous, which I don't necessarily think it will be. So hopefully you see Blake Fisher kind of progress throughout the rest of this year. He's really played in like two main games, and he went against Josh Allen and I want to say Greg Rousseau from the Bills. So he's gotten some really tough matchups. This week, I think he gets Chop Robinson, so you get another rookie. Should be interesting to see how he performs because I do think Tytus, while he's not a great left guard, he's probably going to be the best left guard that the Texans have played this year, just with how they've played. That will be an upgrade. It'll all depend really how Blake Fisher plays, and I don't know what to expect from him. I think even on the Texans probe, Drew, we talked about him after that Bills game. We showed some good run blocks he had, but he still was getting pushed back. He caused that fumble that led to Buffalo tying the game by getting pushed backwards into Stroud. So there was bad moments in that game too, but there was also some good things that he did.
Yeah, I think the thing about Blake Fisher is that everyone is going to recognize immediately, and what the Texans scouting department probably understood is that he's prone to power. However, at Notre Dame, He was 20 years old in his last season at Notre Dame, yet he was still somehow, when I was scouting the tackles, one of the more technically refined guys. He has a good first step. He's gonna be able to stop the finesse guys, the speed rushers, and you're gonna get a speed rusher in Chop Robinson here too, which actually Titus honestly, frankly, had struggled a little bit against speed rushers as well because his first step was a little bit too short. Blake Fisher will get out. You'll see a big bucket step from him. He'll be able to shut down those quicker guys. Uh, and Blake Fisher's going to play a good technique. He also showed some physicality in the run game. You might get some physicality of Blake Fisher at guard. The run game could be better. And then, like we saw Jacob in the Jaguars game, Stroud wasn't really pressured. That was wrong on Stroud. He is the one who needs to realize that he's not please holster. Get the ball out, who's holding the ball for too long, and then I think the Texans' run game, if it's opened up from the quick pass game, it should be just fine. If they could just lock in and be a little bit more physical, I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, this feels like a move to me where it's kind of what people were talking about with Kenyon, where you're trying to insert anything to get any side of the offense working. I think this helps the run game out more than anything, in my opinion. I think you're adding Tytus to guard, who's probably the best run blocker that they've had at guard, just because I know he's not, like you said, he's not asked to do a lot of tackle, but I don't think Kenyon or Juice were good run blockers. I think Tytus can be the best run blocker that's played at the guard position for the Texans. And I think Blake Fisher is a better run blocker than Tytus, if we're speaking in tackle. So I do think this will help Joe Mixon out a little bit. And hopefully, the Texans are still coming off their best performance as an offensive line. So hopefully that can progress. We will see. The Dolphins have a good front. So this is a good test. And I also will say, I do think if you're thinking about long term, you're thinking about the Kansas City game coming up. I do think that Tytus Howard stands a better chance against a guy like Chris Jones than Kenyon Green. I'm very confidently can say that, even if I don't think Tytus is necessarily a very good guard.
A
So
very big long-term thing too, because when someone gets older at the tackle position, it's actually good for them to move to guard as well. Yeah, so for Titus, as he ages, he moves to guard now. Blake Fisher, they're probably always wanting him at tackle. Tunsil's got a couple more years too. Patterson at center, and then we all know the guy makes things up the right guard eventually, and then you have four guys in the positions, now they're gonna be at hopefully for the next 3 to 4 years. So it's good to get this now, and if you want a season altering move, this is what will change it right here. Because Texans are missing just a little bit from their offensive line. They've been missing it all season long. Then, as you said, Jaguars game, good progress there, but not necessarily in the run game for the first half. So we'll see if everything kind of bounces out here. Great test the next 3 games for this offensive line, this new offensive line.
yep, and, the Texans all year have been statistically pretty good when running to the left side, running behind Tunsil, running behind some receiver that side, tight end. They've been good going to the left. Now, I think with Tytus there, I think you continue trying to run the ball to this left side. I think you will have some success doing that, and it should be interesting to see what happens tomorrow because, I do like the change as I think you needed to make a change. I don't think you could roll Kenyon back out there, but I don't necessarily know if it's going to work. But like you said, if there's any move that they could make that would significantly change how their season was going to go, then this was it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you have to, like, give them props for at least trying, because rolling out Kenyon Green out there's just, like, the definition of insanity, because he just was not cutting it. It will be interesting to see how this Texans team performs against, like, the Chiefs, like you said, the Ravens, who also have a pretty good front. But yeah, 3 games in 11 days. Thank you guys so much for your analysis. I have nothing more to add. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think about this move, and we'll see you in the next one.